and I'm really excited to see everybody here this afternoon for our fourth Tuesday forum for February. We're doing something a little different this month, and I'm really excited. Our topic today is comprehensive medical support in community settings. We have some phenomenal presenters today. We're going to learn a little bit about Money Follows the Person, and we're going to hear some remarkable success stories. The format is similar to other forums, so we'll go through the presentations. We are recording today's session. This recording will be on our website by the end of this week. So we'll get it up pretty quickly. If there are any materials that are shared today, they will also be available on the website. And so if you know of someone who is not able to attend today but is interested in the topic, please let them know that the forum will be available. We are going to go through the presentations first, so we'll hold questions until the end. But if you have a question or a comment or a word of encouragement as the presentations are happening, please feel free to put your comments in the chat. We love to get that feedback as the forum is taking place. And we'll hold any questions until the end, and then we'll open it up for question and answer. So at this point, I am going to introduce Kelly Kendall, Supervisor of Case Management, who's going to talk a little bit about Money Follows the Person. This is a topic we have not covered before in one of our fourth Tuesday forums, but we're going to share some information around this remarkable support that's available to people. So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. Thanks, Deputy Commissioner. So today, I want to just give a brief overview of MFP. I have a quick slideshow presentation. I have been with MFP since early 2018, and really what I have been able to see in working with the MFP program is really the phenomenal resources that we have and the ability that we are able to impact people's lives in such a positive way. So MFP is a great resource. I try to get the word out as much as possible for our folks who qualify for MFP to at least look into it, because it really does help people live successful lives. So if you just bear with me one quick second, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Start the slideshow. So what is Money Follows the Person, or as in DDS, we like to use acronyms, so MFP. MFP is a federal demonstration program that helps Medicaid-eligible individuals currently living in long-term care facilities successfully transition back into the community. It's a program overseen in Connecticut by the Department of Social Services, and here at DDS, we have our own MFP division. MFP allows for the individual to access the Medicaid facility cost and use those funds towards community-based supports. So basically, Medicaid pays an institutional setting. So for example, a nursing home, they pay that nursing home a day rate. We are able to take that daily rate and annualize it on behalf of the individual and move that individual back into the community with those funds. MFP provides funding for the individual and the community for 1 year. After that period of time, individuals are then enrolled on a Medicaid waiver or receive other types of Medicaid funded supports. Here at DDS, we match the MFP funds for the person. So we allow for annualized services moving forward. And that really creates long-term success for our DDS individuals. One of the trends that we've seen, unfortunately, is as some of the individuals that we support age, we are seeing more and more admissions into skilled nursing facilities. A lot of times that is the result of a hospitalization or a significant change in the individual's medical condition. Most of the time, individuals go to a nursing home with the intention of staying for short-term rehab. However, sometimes the individual does not return back to their baseline and may need more support. I always say, when I'm working with individuals and families, that DDS does not support the idea of people with intellectual disabilities living in nursing homes long-term. Our goal is always to get people out back into the community and living the lives that they want to live. Nursing homes do provide inpatient rehab and medical treatment, medication management, assistance with ADLs, skilled nursing tasks, and additional medical evaluation or diagnosis. But they don't provide opportunities to exercise independence, opportunities for decision-making, a lot of privacy, opportunities for the individual to engage freely in everyday interests and social activities, access to the community, high staffing ratios or individualized support, or behavioral support and intervention. So most of our folks ultimately do better when they move back into the community. Along with that move back into the community comes a certain level of risk. And the concept of dignity of risk is really the foundation of Money Follows the Person. And it aligns very well with our DDS STEP initiative, where the goal is to empower people to become more independent and integrated into their communities. Dignity of risk is the idea that self-determination and the right to take reasonable risks are essential for dignity and self-esteem. It also supports the individual's right to learn, grow, and have a better quality of life. Person-centered planning, which we practice every day with the folks that we support, also supports the idea that dignity of risk is different for everybody, and it allows for the individual to be invested in their plan. Working as teams, we are able to build safe opportunities for risk, which increase better outcomes for the individuals that we support overall. So who is eligible for MFP? So eligibility is based on the following criteria. The individual must be Medicaid eligible, and they must be eligible for one of the Connecticut Medicaid waivers, and this includes our DDS waivers. I do want to note that MFP is not specific to individuals within DDS, that it is a statewide program. So as long as the person is eligible for one of the Medicaid waivers, they can access Money Follows the Person. And then the third criteria is that the individual is currently residing in an institutional setting for a period of at least 60 days, and Medicaid must pay for at least 1 day of that stay. Under DDS, we define an institution as an ICF, so that includes Southbury Training School, a DDS regional center, or a private ICF group home, a hospital, or a nursing home. So how do we apply for MFP? MFP applications are online, and they can be submitted at any point. If you're interested, I can happily, share the link in the chat when we're finished. Individuals can receive assistance from the person of their choice in completing the application on their behalf. They can obviously do it themselves, but their guardian, their conservator, their facility social worker, their DDS case manager, a nurse, et cetera, can all complete that application on their behalf. If the individual decides that they don't want to proceed with MFP, they can withdraw at any time. So there's no, once you don't have to commit if you decide that you don't want to, and it does not impact the individual's benefits or services in any way. Once a referral is accepted, a DDS case manager is assigned. Our MFP case managers really provide what I like to call intensive case management. We are there working with the individual, planning and developing a safe care plan that allows for the person to transition successfully back into the community. Sometimes these plans take a few months, sometimes they can take a few years. It depends on the individual's needs and the services that we need to put in place in order for the individual to successfully transition. We are continually assessing the individual's needs and coordinating with medical staff, community providers, family, friends, et cetera, to ensure all areas are addressed prior to and for the duration of the MFP year. We're able to offer some pretty comprehensive services and supports to the folks that discharge under MFP. All individuals are eligible to receive any of the services and supports listed under the DDS waivers based on the needs identified in their plan and the funding based on the daily rate of the facility. They're also able to access additional services under Medicaid, including home health and VNA supports, RN or LPN supports. Some of our folks also combine our services with community first choice supports. All MFP individuals are able to access a RAP certificate, which is essentially a housing subsidy that allows for the person, if they need to find housing or a new in the community, there's assistance with that. We also offer one-time waiver supports through such as home mods or vehicle mods or assistive technology. This is one line item that we really use pretty heavily in our MFP discharges. Our focus a lot of times is getting people home and making that home accessible to meet their needs long term. So that is one huge benefit of the MFP program. And individuals have the opportunity to access self-direction, agency-based supports, paid or unpaid family caregivers, or a combination of all three. Discharge timeframe. So I never like to put a time frame on discharge because, many factors must come into play in order for a successful discharge to happen. I always say like all the stars need to align perfectly. But if, housing, if the person needs housing, we need to make sure that there's availability and we have found an appropriate housing situation for the person. If the home environment needs to be accessible, sometimes we need to do the home mods before the person can move. Sometimes we can do them after. It depends on the individual situation, the availability of staff, and then stability of the individual's physical and mental health. So I never guarantee discharge within a certain time frame because, like I said, everything has to come into play perfectly. When to consider an MFP referral. So, for example, if you have an individual residing in a nursing home, a hospital, or an ICF, and they have expressed a desire to return to the community. Some examples for, an individual living on their own with maybe 10 hours of IHS, and they want to return to their apartment, but they need more support hours. We can enhance those hours under MFP. If the individual lived in a family home prior to their nursing home admission, but would need a ramp and a walk-in shower to return home, again, we can assist with home mods to allow that person to return home. Or the individual wants to live independently with a roommate who also has DDS supports. We do a lot of matching, people make friends, in nursing homes, we've had individuals on different waivers live together. We have individuals who are both on the DDS waiver live together, and they are able to combine their services for 24-hour supports and live an independent life. So just a little bit of overview of our success in the program. So right now we have 4 case managers statewide that work solely with individuals enrolled on MFP. On average, we discharge about 25 to 30 people per year. And 60% of these discharges are individuals over the age of 50. 94% of individuals complete their MFP year, which means that they remain in the community successfully for a year. And since we annualize those MFP funds after the MFP year, we have really allowed for individuals to stay in the community successfully. The program MFP started in 2012, and 88% of the individuals still receiving DDS supports to date remain enrolled on the waiver and in community-based settings. So that number alone really speaks to the success of the program and our ability to support people with comprehensive needs in the community. If you have any questions, here's my email. That's probably the easiest way to reach out to me. But that's all I have for today. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Deputy Commissioner.
Thank you, Kelly. And if you could drop that link in the chat as well as your email in the chat, that would be helpful. Thank you for such a great overview of MFP. And now we're going to turn it over to some of our presenters to see what this looks like. So I will introduce Sarah Haggerty, who's going to do introductions, and welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Today I am with Patricia Morant, and Patricia is the mom of Kylie Morant, who is 13, and Kylie is a DDS consumer on my caseload, who is also part of the MFP program. But I consider the Morants to be my 1 in a million case because Patricia is not a DDS consumer, but she is part of the MFP program under the PCA waiver. And she has agreed to tell us her very unique story today about how her and Kylie are home here together. So Pat, if you wouldn't mind telling us your story.
Okay, Kylie was 3 months old when I first laid eyes on her. And the first time I saw her, I fell in love with her. So that's many years ago. Since then, Kylie has been a bright light in my life. Everybody who meets Kylie loves her because she smiles. She's just a character. You have to meet her. But anyway, let's see. Probably back in 2003, I think. Um, Kylie, I became Kylie's foster mom, and with that foster care, it led me to actually adopt Kylie and be her full-time mom. And I claim Kylie to this day as my own. And Kylie has many issues, but I've taken them all into consideration because I love her. And when you love like that, you can't do nothing but care for your child and do what you can for her. But MFP brought us together. Recently, I was dismissed from a home, from a nursing facility. Sorry, I had a stroke not too long ago, so I have issues with my speaking. But I was released from a nursing home, and at that time, Kai was in the hospital for special care. MFP came into our lives and brought us back home together. Lots of people were saying that Kai would be better off without me. They could see Kylie in another facility, and I was like, that can't happen. Well, I went to the hospital for special care for a meeting, and I just broke down. I ended up in tears because I didn't think they were right to take my kid away from me. So anyway, MFP stepped in and made it possible to bring me and Kai together, home together finally, and we're happy. That's basically that's how we got together, because the MFP stepped in and made it all possible. Things aren't perfect from the time we got home up until now. Things are not perfect, but they're at a high point right now because I'm just happy that my kid's home with me and we're happy.
Can
It
I
was a
ask,
very long road
yeah,
too.
a little bit about the process? That would be helpful.
Yeah, Pat and I were actually chuckling before we went on camera about some of the challenges that we faced, trying to pull all of this together. There were a lot of delays, and, there were discharge dates set and then pushed back. There were a lot of discouragement along the way too. It was rough. But we never stopped, on the MFP side, we never stopped believing that these two people needed to be together. And just because somebody had, some medical issues doesn't mean that they can't be a parent. And Pat is a wonderful parent and a wonderful advocate for Kylie, and continues to be, to have the supports they each need to live in their home. So, we'll just continue to work. It is continuing to be a challenge.
All right, and we started at the same time. We started at the same time. All right, I'm still here.
Can I ask, were you able to return home to the home that you and Kylie lived in before the medical issues?
Yes. Some work was being done in my home, but as they were doing work, we just moved right on in and we figured everything out, one day at a time, and we're here now.
And Pat, did you have to coordinate your discharge and Kylie's discharge? Did everything happen at the same time, or how was that?
No, actually, I didn't do nothing about my discharge. Sarah, thankfully, she took everything into control. because with her coordination, she made sure that Kylie came home from the hospital for special care like 3 days after. I was upset because I wanted Kylie home with me the same day I came
Yeah.
home. But she coordinated so that Kylie would come home 3 days after me, and that helps. I mean, just to have someone like Sarah in my corner all the way, that gave me strength and made me believe and trust in her.
We tried to get her home on the same day and it kind of fell apart. But we did the best we could. And I mean, the ceiling was falling in and we had to have construction come in. It was rough the first few days, but Pat figured it out and you know, she got through and things are good now. And Kylie smiled through the whole thing. She's a sweetheart and she's just happy to be back with her mom and back in school.
I'm sure she's happy to be home. And what kind of support do you have in the home now?
Oh, there's Kylie gets 24 hours around the clock service. There's always someone here with us both. She's never alone. Even for me, sometimes when someone's here for her, they help me as well. But Kylie gets everything that she needs around the clock.
I don't think we could ask for a better story to start us off. And I think, Sarah, when you said this is a kind of a 1 in a million story, to have everything line up, I think it shows just how it may not be an easy process, but how creative you can be when you're looking at MFP and the flexibility that it has to, you know, to meet people where they are. So thank you so much for joining us. And if you can stay on, I'm sure we may have some questions at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now I'm gonna introduce Sandra, who is gonna introduce our next presenter. Welcome, Sandra.
Put your thing on the top.
I used
Hi.
to live at El Grasso
Wait,
Regional
wait.
Hi,
Center building.
Louis.
I shared
Hello.
my bedroom with a person that
Louis
next
is
to me. I had
speaking.
to move there because my home was on the second floor and my mother could no longer carry me upstairs, so this was somewhere close to my family. It was nice, but it was not like my own home that I have now. I did believe that I could live in my own home when I met Sandy and we talked about moving out of El Grasso. My experience with MFP was great. I got a home and things were done so I could use the bathroom and use my power chair to get in and out of my home. MTM medical transportation is very bad and has been a problem my supervisor and I still deal with. I met a new friend who still is my housemate today. 10 years later I hire my staff with the help of my supervisor and share them with my housemate. My family comes to see me and I have my own place. My life now is very full. I go to the anime convention every year. I participated in advisory council for a few years before COVID-19 in Hartford. I go to work full time. I go out into my community and do things I like to do, such as shopping. I decorate my home for the holidays the way I want. I chose furnishings. I pay bills with the help of my mother and supervisor. I shop for my clothes online or in person. I chose groceries. I chose what I want to eat. I have a lot of friends at work.
Louis wrote all that.
Wow,
Yep.
Louis.
And he
You-
uses his iPad to
Yeah.
talk to text. We talked about things that he wanted to say so that he would have a full and be able to do a presentation, because his typing to type, it would be so answering questions for you, for the folks here, Deputy Commissioner, he can do that and answer short answers, but he wanted to make sure that we captured everything that
Louis,
he's been. And how long have you lived here? Do you remember? 10 years? 10 years.
10
Since
years.
Alex-
You captured 10 years in that presentation. That's amazing. So you were at El Grasso and then you moved into your own apartment with your friend and roommate, and the two of you still live together 10 years later?
And
Wow,
tell
that's
the Deputy Commissioner, it's a whole house with a backyard that you can access because it has a sidewalk back there, right? You guys barbecue? Yeah. And it's a whole small raised ranch on Butternut Ridge Road in Waterbury. And he has a nice, he decorates his bedroom. They agree on the decorations and the decor and the furniture, getting new furniture and all that. Right?
Louis, that's amazing. That is amazing. And then you you hire the staff that support you, you with your mom?
Who's the boss of the staff? He is.
You are.
He is. And then he has a supervisor, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Juanita's a
That's-
supervisor and
Yeah.
him and his roommate agree because they have 24/7 staff and they agree on the supervisor and they have the supervisor do the head hunting and she sets up interviews at the home for them to talk to and meet staff. And they meet like sometimes once a week, but at least once a month to go over if there's any issues with staff or anything like that. And no, there hasn't been, yes. And they decide together how they want things they want things addressed. And then they decide if they want to do it themselves or if they want their supervisor to do it. But I believe someone else had come to the house and interviewed them both, these folks, and they said, and they made it clear to that interviewer that this is their home and they are the boss.
You're the boss.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have to ask you about the anime convention. You go to the anime convention?
In Hartford.
In Hartford, right?
Yeah.
Do you
Yep.
dress up?
Yeah,
Did you dress up this year?
yeah,
Yep.
every year.
Yep.
That
Every
is
year.
really cool. That's very cool. I've been in downtown Hartford when the convention is going on, and there's
Yeah.
it looks like it is a great time. That's awesome.
Mhm. That transportation can be a little challenging, but we have, I don't work with these folks anymore because it's 10 years, but
Uh-huh.
they will sometimes reach out to me if they need to be pointed in the right direction, right? Lewis has been told that he can invite me over to his home anytime he wants, that I can't just stop over anywhere because I'm not the case manager, but he can invite me over. And if he needed help with anything, that he can reach out to me. So.
Awesome.
Because they're in Waterbury, so it's a little bit of a hike. And mom was a little anxious, right? Because it's a big step. She lives in Bridgeport, right? But he's independent, grown up person. And she loves, and they come visit. He has a niece or a nephew?
Niece.
A niece. Yeah, a niece. And they come and visit and hang out. And it's gone very well. There's been bumps in the road, right? The transportation for medical's been a problem, but we keep at it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you
He wanted to
mentioned
make sure he
in your
told you guys that.
presentation. You said that transportation can be
Medical transportation, the paratransit locally is great. Going up to the anime thing was a little bit more steps as far as trying to get that reimbursed through DDS and asking for that funding. But the MTM, that's always it's used to be VEO, it's now MTM. That's always been part of, because he is in a power chair, so he does need that kind of assistance for medical.
Yeah.
Yes. So. But he goes to WARC full time, and they do some trips that you do on Saturdays, right? You get to do those trips too. You save up your money and you decide, they look at the calendar and sign up for the trips that you like with them too, right?
That was my next question. Where do you go during the day? So WARC, and I've seen some of the activities they do. They do some pretty fun stuff.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool.
And he goes to their after dances. They do a ZD dinner. They do other things. So if he likes to go to those things. Those are all planned for either a residential support staff to come with him. The Saturday trips, he just goes with them. And he has lots of friends there now. When we first started this process, we only wanted to go part-time, right? He was really anxious about like a full-time. But now it's Monday through Friday, all day. He's got tons of friends down there. He probably has the run of the place, right? Yes.
Awesome. All right. I see there's some comments that are coming in on the chat. So some really nice things. So I'm gonna, if you can stay on, we're gonna introduce our third presenter, and then we'll get to some of these comments. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, Louis.
You like that, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, we're
We'll
gonna
see you
listen
in a
now.
bit. All right. All right, and last but not least, we have Jennifer. Are you there with Christopher?
We're here.
Yes, we're here. Hold on one second.
Awesome. Welcome. Very nice to meet you. Jennifer, I'll turn it over to you and you can introduce Christopher.
Hi, so this is Christopher O'Connor. I'm trying to get I'm not sure if you guys can see us. Can you see us yet?
We can see you and we can
Yes,
see
we
both
can see
of you. So it's perfect and we can hear you as well.
Okay, sorry. So my name is Jennifer. I'm Christopher's supervisor here. He has been with us. He has moved here for 2 years already.
Yeah, 2 years.
Okay, so you want to introduce yourself and
Hello, I'm Chris O'Connor. How you doing?
Hi, Christopher.
you wanna say something?
Oh, yeah.
about yourself?
So can you tell us a little bit about where you were living and then how you came to be living where you are now?
I was in Glendale for 3 years.
Glendale. Oh, I've been to
Yeah.
Glendale.
I was there. I had to go there. I broke my ankle.
And then you were there for 3 years?
Yeah.
And you move.
Then I moved here. Sandy got me out of Glendale. I wasn't walking good.
I see. And where are you living now?
I used to live with my mother,
I see.
and I fell a few times, and that didn't work too well. So I had to go to the convalescent home.
Yeah.
I'm in Waterbury. I'm on what is this? 240 Bucks Hill Road, Waterbury.
You have a roommate.
I got a roommate. I hang with the staff. You know,
You have 24.
And
24 hours here.
how did you meet your roommate?
Let's see. I met my roommate. I was in the convalescent room. They were doing an interview, and the guy goes, "I work with him." You know?
Really?
Yes. So his roommate was living here before he moved here. So he met his roommate when he came to look at the location, and they remember themselves from working at Stop and Shop. Stop and Shop. So they know each other from like years. Years.
That's very
then-
cool.
Yeah,
we
Sandy
just
Sandy
lost
Wakowski
the
was
picture.
the one that brought him here.
Yeah,
We just-
Sandy got me out of that place.
We lost your camera, your picture.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. But we can still hear you. So, what did Sandy come to visit you there and start to talk to you about moving
Yeah,
out to Glendale?
Yeah. Money follows the person.
Ah, and did it take a little while? I can see you again. Thank you.
Okay.
Did it take a little while to figure out a plan as far as
Yeah,
how
it
you
took a little
move out?
while. Yeah. I didn't want to do it, but you had to do it.
You didn't want to
was
do it?
scared. I was kind of
Before you-
scared.
Of
and timid.
course. Are you glad you did it?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Oh my
So
God.
how is it different living in your home in Waterbury than it was when you were at Glendale?
Well, it's better here than it was in Glendale.
Why is that?
The girls are, the girls are very nice.
Nice.
You're on speaker.
And how do you hire the staff?
I hired a staff.
Yeah, I can hear you. Good speaker. You hire the staff.
Yeah.
You have 24-hour
And I
care.
got 24-hour care,
You're the boss.
and I'm the boss.
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Mom comes and visits.
My mother comes every day, or not every day, every couple days.
That's awesome. What does she think about you living in your own place?
She's here.
Oh, that's better for me.
Yeah. She happy
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah. Then I'm gonna be going to WARC in Waterbury.
Okay.
Very excited.
So you'll be doing some of those activities as well.
Oh yeah, it'll be exciting.
You do physical therapy.
I go to physical therapy. I went there today.
How are you doing with your walking?
Oh, I'm doing
He's
well.
doing amazing. Yes,
Awesome.
he's doing-
I walked the whole thing today. I don't have good balance, but it's
Yeah.
getting there.
have your own
You feel like
room,
you're getting stronger?
I got my own room,
a new phone.
got a new phone.
We lost your camera again.
Oh,
Oh,
I got the.
I
So,
don't
but
know
I
what's
can
going on.
I can still hear you. So you said you
Okay.
have your own room and you have your own phone?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I got a laptop.
Cool.
Yes, you went to the, what program did you go to, Chris? Did you go to AT&Me?
Hey, money follows the person.
No, the phone,
Yeah.
the ATM.
Did you go to
yeah.
the AT&Me class?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you
Hey,
got one of the AT&Me backpacks with the
Yeah, I
Chromebook
got
and the
that.
phone? That's awesome. Do you call people?
yeah. I called my brother. I called my mother. My
He
my-
FaceTimes.
I FaceTime.
Yep.
You know, nice.
To FaceTime
Chris-
with the staff and his
Chris,
family.
you grew up in Waterbury, and one of the
I
things
grew
you
up
told
in
me,
Waterbury.
yes, you
I
wanted to
grew up
stay
in
in
Waterbury.
Waterbury. Yep. And you wanted to stay right in Waterbury and never leave Waterbury.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay there.
Hey, that's my hometown too. I can understand. It's a good place. That sounds like things worked out really, really well.
Oh, it did.
Are you able to get in and out of your house okay? Do you have stairs
Oh,
there?
yeah, we got a
Yeah,
nice,
ramp.
we got a ramp there going out.
You have a
And what do we have in the
wheelchair,
back?
Here.
Elevator.
What do you,
Yeah,
what do you have in the
elevator.
back? An elevator in the back.
Elevator.
Very-
And-
Go up
an
and down.
elevator. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
cool.
And do
And
you
what
have,
about,
are you healthier, Chris?
Oh, yeah. I lost 55 pounds.
fantastic? You look very healthy.
Thank you.
He chooses his own groceries. He does his list, what he needs.
Yeah.
So he goes shopping. He's out in the community a lot more.
You go to the mall?
Yeah.
You like the mall, even though it's sort of dying, but you do like the
I
mall.
know.
Brass City.
The Brass City.
Brass City.
Yeah.
And do you have a vehicle a car that you and your roommate share, or do you
We call CT Transit.
CT Transit? And does it come right up to the house?
Oh,
Yeah.
comes right to the house.
Nice. So it'll take you to the mall?
Yeah.
To the mall, Walmart,
Walmart.
Naugatuck. He wants to go out to like the beach in the summer. Like we go to
Really?
the little beach in Woket. Then we go there. So they
That's
do a lot of out.
Paratransit in Waterbury goes all the way to Lake Quassapug.
Yeah, it goes all
That's all
thing.
part of the local area. So that's a huge Waterbury, Greater Waterbury Transit is probably one of the best paratransits going. So. And Lewis agrees with these are my guys. So yeah, Lewis is agreeing with that. So yes. And Chris, when he first got out, he was a little anxious about going, he hadn't been really out because mom's older. And before he fell, they really stayed home a lot. So being independent and being his own man, his mom's very proud of him. It was a big step for him. And she's happy that he got the opportunity to do that. And so she now comes and sees him and visits him. So, and pretty much every day. And they enjoy spending time together. He decorates his room too, the way he wants and gets things he wants.
Today.
Oh, your mom's
Sandy?
here now?
Yeah.
Tell her I said hi.
She's had high.
So,
That is awesome. When you said you were a little nervous about the idea of moving, that's why we do these forums, because people get nervous. And by hearing someone like you say, hey, I was nervous, but I took a chance and it worked out. And now look at my house that I have and all these things that I'm doing, it makes other people think, that they might be able to do something like that too. And that's why we do this. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're very welcome. So I don't know if you can see the chat and Lewis and Pat, but there's like lots of emojis. We don't always get emojis, but I see hearts and I see stars. So I'm going to share some of the, and if all of you want to come on, that's fine. Feel free to turn your camera on. But I see lots of comments. Inspiring. I see hands clapping. That was awesome. This is amazing. This is awesome. Lewis, you rock. Lewis rocks. Lewis rocks at 100%. That's a pretty high compliment. Awesome. That is so awesome. Anime conventions are great. Lewis, thank you for sharing. Another person said, this is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Christopher, I think there's somebody you may know. Yuri said, hi, Christopher. Somebody else said hello. Angela said hello. Someone said, this is awesome. You're living your best life. Wow, an elevator. Somebody said that's great. Good job, everyone. Great living independently. Thank you so much for sharing. A number of people said thank you so much for sharing. Lorianne said, Pat, you are an amazing mom. And honestly, that comes through from the minute you started to talk about Kylie, that came through. I'm so happy that Sarah was able to work things out for the two of you to return home, because that is extraordinary, and you clearly are a great mom. Awesome, very inspirational to hear about Pat, Lewis, and Christopher, all of the success. Thank you for sharing. This is incredibly inspiring. Very inspiring. Thank you all. And thank you for sharing. This gives me so much hope for my son. So by you sharing your stories today, it has it's given people ideas as far as what might be possible. I can tell you from my perspective, we've done a lot of these forums, and this one is extra super special because I think your stories show pretty dramatic changes in your life, because you kind of took a chance and believed that something might be possible, and it worked out so that really good things happened. And then there is a comment, rightfully so. Kudos to the case managers and supervisors too. It takes a lot of work to make this happen. These are such wonderful stories, and we definitely heard that. So Sandy and Jen and Sarah, this doesn't happen without a whole lot of work, a whole lot of coordination, and a lot of logistics, we know. But it shows that all that work pays off, because at the end, look. So that's pretty amazing. So I don't see any questions, but I'll give folks a chance if anyone wants to raise their hand. Are there any questions for our presenters? Okay, I don't see any questions. I want to make one announcement, and we will share this with our materials. Christopher mentioned AT&Me, and we still have AT&Me classes that are going on. So if anyone is interested in participating in a class, and with that class, you get training on using a cell phone, using a Chromebook, you get a hotspot, you get connectivity. We still have AT&Me backpacks. You get the equipment, over $1,000 worth of equipment, and you get training as far as how to use it all. So I'll take this opportunity. And there is a conference coming up. It's called Tech Tools for Life. And it's coming up in June, and we have some, DDS is sponsoring the conference. And so if individuals, family members are interested in technology, you can reach out to Kyle Fishbein, or Kyle, I don't know if you want to put the form right in the chat. And we have 40 spots for people to attend that conference that's coming up. It's in Bristol in June. And so I wanted to make that announcement. We'll be sending out information about this, but since you logged on to the Fourth Tuesday Forum, I figured I'd give you a preview and let you know that that opportunity is available. All right, so we have some information in the chat. I want to thank our presenters today. You guys, you knocked it out of the park. You're extraordinary, and thank you for taking some time on a Tuesday afternoon to share your stories with us. We really appreciate it. I hope you have a great afternoon.